It's just a private habit. It doesn't affect anyone else, right? That's what many older adults believe when it comes to masturbation. But the truth is, how you masturbate, how often, how fast, how unconscious can have a deep impact on your relationships, your emotional connection, and your ability to enjoy intimacy with a real partner. You may not see it at first, but over time the signs appear. You feel more detached from your spouse. Sex feels like a chore or disappears completely. You're quicker to turn to screens than conversation. You find it harder to get aroused with a real person. And it's not about being too old for sex. It's about how certain masturbation habits can silently rewire your brain and body away from intimacy. Hi, I'm Dr. Victor Hale, a urologist specializing in men's and couples' health after 60. I've spent over 15 years helping older adults restore sexual connection, not just physically but emotionally. And in today's video, I'm going to reveal 3 common masturbation mistakes that are quietly killing intimacy in older adults, the neuroscience behind how solo habits affect partnered connection, and how to rebuild closeness without giving up your personal pleasure. This is a judgment-free zone. No shame, no scare tactics. Just honest medical truth, rooted in care. So if you're ready to bring warmth, presence, and passion back into your relationship even after 60 hit, like, subscribe, and let's begin. When you're younger, masturbation is often just instinctive, fast, private, forgotten. But after 60, things begin to shift not only in your body, but in your emotions, relationships, and how your brain responds to pleasure. And this is exactly why your solo habits matter more than ever. Your body isn't the same after 60. Let's start with the basics. As you age, 3 major physiological changes occur. 1. Testosterone drops, reducing sexual desire, response speed, and energy. 2. Blood flow weakens, affecting your ability to get and stay erect. 3. Nerve sensitivity declines, meaning it takes longer or requires more stimulation to feel the same pleasure. In short, your body needs more time, more presence, and more gentleness to respond. But here's the problem. Most men and women never change their solo habits to match their aging physiology. They rush. They stay in their heads. They do what they've always done, and end up frustrated when their body doesn't react the way it used to. Your brain is rewiring too. Every time you masturbate, you're reinforcing a neurological pattern. You're training your brain. This is what arousal looks like. This is what feels good. This is the pathway to orgasm. I stick. Now, if your pattern involves watching high-speed porn, always using a strong, tight grip, never involving emotion, fantasy, or connection, then guess what? Your brain learns to only respond to that. So when you're with a partner where things are slower, emotional, unpredictable, your arousal system doesn't know what to do. It's like teaching your body to only sprint on a treadmill, then expecting it to enjoy a walk in the park. This is why so many older couples drift apart, not because love fades, but because their arousal systems are out of sync. Emotional intimacy needs space to breathe. There's one more piece. Emotional connection. Many older adults fall into a routine where solo pleasure replaces shared intimacy not out of selfishness, but out of comfort or habit. But when masturbation becomes a substitute instead of a supplement, it can create emotional distance, reduce communication, reinforce secrecy or guilt, make vulnerability feel unsafe. That's not a moral problem. It's a relational pattern and it's changeable. Case story. Mr. and Mrs. L. married Trent 7 years. Mr. L was 71. He loved his wife deeply but hadn't had sex with her in over 2 years. I'm just not into it anymore, he said. But privately, he was masturbating daily with porn, always fast, always alone. We talked. Slowly, we shifted his habits. Fewer screens, more awareness. Eventually, he invited his wife into the process just emotionally at first, then physically, then sexually. 3 months later, he told me, we laughed together in bed again. I didn't realize how far I had drifted not just from her but from myself. 3. Bottom line. After 60, how you relate to your own body directly affects how you connect with others. Masturbation isn't the enemy, But unconscious habits repeated over time can slowly dull your sensitivity, your joy, and your intimacy. So what exactly are the biggest mistakes I see in older adults? Let's break down the 3 masturbation habits that quietly destroy connections, starting with number 1. Mistake number 1. Using porn as the primary source of arousal. Let's talk about the most common and most quietly damaging masturbation habit I see in older adults. Relying on porn every time you touch yourself. At first, it seems harmless. A little visual stimulation. Something to get the engine started, especially if arousal doesn't come as easily anymore. But here's what I want you to understand. Porn isn't neutral. It's neurological. Every time you watch porn, especially fast, high-stimulation videos, your brain receives a massive surge of dopamine, the anticipation chemical. That flood of dopamine creates strong mental associations. Visual novelty equals arousal. Constant stimulation equals pleasure. Fast action. Climax. Over time, your brain gets trained to expect that level of intensity, and when it doesn't get it, real-life intimacy starts to feel flat, slow, or even boring. The neuroscience of arousal. Think of your arousal system like a muscle. If you only train it with extreme artificial stimulation, it becomes less responsive to natural, emotional, slower experiences like sex with a long-term partner. This is especially problematic after 60 because your nervous system already responds more slowly. Your testosterone levels are lower. Your imagination or fantasy may not be as vivid. You may be emotionally disconnected due to grief, age, or stress. So when you feed your arousal only through visual hyperstimulation, you're making it even harder to feel anything in your own body or heart. Case story: Mr. H, age 66. Mr. H was recently widowed. Alone and grieving, he turned to online porn daily to self-soothe. "It helps me sleep," he said. But after a year, he couldn't get aroused without it. Even when he started dating again, he felt numb. His erections weakened. His desire vanished the moment there was emotional connection. We worked together to slowly reduce his dependence on porn. I introduced him to guided fantasy, sensual audio, and even memory-based arousal. It wasn't easy, but within 2 months, he could get aroused without a screen and, more importantly, he felt present and emotionally available with the woman he'd started seeing. What to do instead? You don't have to quit porn entirely, but if you rely on it every time, you're likely conditioning your brain away from real intimacy. Here's what I recommend. Use your imagination. Recall a positive memory, or explore a sensual fantasy. Try audio. There are now platforms that offer erotic stories or guided pleasure sessions without visuals. Use your senses. Light a candle. Touch different textures. Explore smell. Bring your arousal into your body, not just your eyes. Limit porn to 1 out of every 4 or 5 sessions, or wean off entirely if needed. The goal isn't moral. It's neurological. You're giving your brain space to respond to real sensation and real connection again. Mistake number 2. Rushing through the act like it's a task, not a practice. If mistake number 1 is about what stimulates you, then mistake number 2 is about how you treat the act itself. Many older adults masturbate the same way they have for decades. Fast, mechanical motion. No emotional connection. No buildup of arousal. Goal equals release ASAP. It becomes a task, something you do quickly, secretly, and then move on. But here's the truth. That rushed pattern trains your body to associate sexual pleasure with tension, not with connection, exploration, or intimacy. Why this hurts intimacy? Let's look at the impact. You condition your body to orgasm quickly, which can lead to premature ejaculation with a partner. You disconnect from emotional intimacy, reducing your ability to be present with someone else. You stop exploring your full range of sensation, which dulls arousal over time. You create an unconscious cycle of stress, tension, fast release, emptiness. This rushed routine may feel like relief in the moment, but in the long term, it creates emotional numbness and sexual burnout. Worse, when partnered sex happens, you may not be able to match your partner's rhythm, causing frustration, withdrawal, or shutdown. Your nervous system needs slowness. As you age, your nervous system becomes more sensitive to stress and time pressure. Quick orgasms may have been fun at 30, but at 60 plus, your arousal system needs longer build-up, deeper relaxation, more mindful touch, less pressure to perform. You're not broken, you're just different. And your body is asking for slowness, not speed. Case story, Mr. T, age 69. Mr. T came in frustrated. It's taking longer and longer to climax. Sometimes I just give up halfway. But when I asked how long he gave himself, 3 to 5 minutes, he said. Maybe 10 if I'm lucky. Damn. He was rushing and expecting his body to behave like it did 40 years ago. I gave him one prescription. No climax goal. Just 20 minutes of slow touch, breathing, exploration, without porn or pressure. The results? I felt sensations I hadn't felt in years. I actually cried. I didn't realize I'd been ignoring myself. This is the shift. From release to relationship with your own body. What to do instead? If you're used to rushing, try this. Set aside 15-20 minutes where you won't be interrupted. Turn off your phone, darken the room. Use slow touch, not just stroking the genitals, but exploring thighs, chest, stomach. Breathe deeply, match your breath to your motion. Let arousal build without chasing orgasm. If you climax, great. If not, that's fine. 2. This is about presence, not performance. You'll be amazed at what returns emotionally, physically, even spiritually when you give yourself time to feel again. Mistake number 3. Treating masturbation as a secret, shameful habit. Let's be honest. For many adults over 60, masturbation is still wrapped in layers of silence, guilt, or shame, especially among those raised in more conservative or religious environments. Even today, I hear men whisper in my clinic, "I still do it, but I feel bad about it. Is it wrong at my age?" If my partner found out, she'd be disgusted. This secrecy doesn't just affect your mind, it destroys your emotional intimacy, both with yourself and with your partner. Shame disconnects you from yourself. When you masturbate with guilt, you tell your nervous system, "This is dirty. I should hide. I'm doing something wrong." That creates internal conflict, activating stress hormones like cortisol and suppressing feel-good chemicals like oxytocin. Over time, it turns a potentially healing, connecting act into a source of anxiety and self-rejection. You may climax, but you won't feel nourished. You may feel more alone than before. It also damages trust in relationships. Let's say you're in a committed relationship. You never talk about masturbation. You hide it. Your partner suspects something, but no one addresses it. What happens? Emotional distance grows. Your partner may feel excluded or rejected. You carry quiet guilt. They carry quiet resentment. Sex dries up, not from lack of love, but from lack of safety. All because of one core mistake: assuming masturbation must be private, secret, or shameful. Case story. Mr. and Mrs. K, married 42 years. Mr. K was 70. His wife told me privately, "He doesn't touch me anymore. I don't think he wants me." But when I spoke to him, he was masturbating 3-4 times a week, secretly, because he was afraid intimacy would lead to performance, anxiety, or rejection. When I encouraged him to gently open up to his wife, something shifted. They didn't jump into sex, but they started talking again, then cuddling, then kissing. Eventually, they explored mutual touch, including masturbation as a shared experience. He told me, "It's not about climax anymore. It's about closeness. We laugh in bed again." That is the true purpose of sexual expression: to connect, not to hide. What to do? Instead, you don't have to announce your solo habits on a billboard. But if you want to deepen intimacy, talk to your partner honestly and gently. "This is something I do for myself. It doesn't mean I don't want you." Explore if there's space for mutual pleasure, like watching each other, guiding each other, or simply being emotionally present. Release shame by understanding. Masturbation is natural, healthy, and ageless. If you're single, talk to a therapist or coach to unlearn toxic beliefs and create a new relationship with your body. Remember, hiding creates distance, but honesty done with care builds bridges. Now that we've covered the 3 key mistakes: using porn as your primary stimulation, rushing the act like a chore, treating it as a secret burden. After exposing the 3 common mistakes that silently sabotage intimacy in older adults, you might ask, so what should I do instead? You don't have to give up masturbation. In fact, you shouldn't. But you do need to rebuild your relationship with it. Because when practiced consciously, masturbation isn't just about release. It becomes a tool for healing, presence, self-awareness, and connection. Let's explore how you can turn a private habit into a meaningful, even intimate ritual that supports both your solo and shared life. 1. Shift your mindset. From relief to relationship. The first step is to stop viewing masturbation as an escape from stress or boredom. Instead, treat it as a check-in with your body, an act of self-care, a practice of mindful touch. When you bring awareness and intention to your solo time, you rewire your brain to experience pleasure as nourishing, not just numbing. Think of it like yoga or meditation, but for your sensual self. 2. Create a safe and sacred space. You can't rush into emotional connection. Same with physical arousal. Set aside time when you won't be disturbed. Dim the lights. Sit or lie in a position that feels supportive. Use warm lighting, comfortable textures, relaxing instrumental music, scented candles, optional. These cues help your nervous system shift from do something fast to slow down and feel. 3. Focus on sensation, not just genitals. Many older adults limit pleasure to one small area, the genitals. But your whole body can participate. Caress your chest, arms, thighs. Explore your belly, neck, feet. Breathe deeply while touching. Use both hands or soft objects, silk scarf, warm towel. This approach increases nerve sensitivity, improves blood flow, and teaches your brain to experience pleasure in new ways. 4. Practice edging to build stamina. Instead of rushing to orgasm, try edging. 1. Stimulate slowly. 2. When you feel near climax, pause. San. Breathe. Relax. Return to gentle touch. 4. Repeat 2 to 3 times before allowing climax, or not at all. Benefits. Strong erections. Improved control. Longer intimacy when with a partner. More intense full-body orgasms. This helps retrain your system from rush release to build, hold, connect. Woo. Journal or reflect afterwards. After a mindful solo session, take 5 minutes to reflect. How did your body feel? What emotions came up? Was there tension or relaxation? This helps you deepen the emotional and mental connection to your body and reveals patterns that may affect your partnered intimacy too. 6. Share when appropriate. If you're in a relationship, consider sharing this journey. Start with something like, I've been learning how to reconnect with my body in a more mindful way. It's helping me feel more alive, and I want to share that with you. This opens the door to mutual self-exploration, emotional closeness, non-pressure intimacy. Even just having the conversation builds connection. Summary: 6 practices that build intimacy through solo touch. Practice what it builds. Shift mindset, emotional connection. Create sacred space, nervous system safety. Explore full-body sensation, expanded pleasure. Edging arousal, control plus stamina. Reflect after self-awareness. Share with partner, relational closeness. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be present. Because when you change how you relate to yourself, everything else begins to shift your confidence, your touch, your connection, your intimacy. And that is what brings real passion back into life after 60. You've made it this far, which already tells me one thing. You care. You care about your health, your body, your relationships, and your ability to stay intimate, even as time goes on. Let's take a moment to reflect on what you've learned. Quick recap. The 3 masturbation mistakes that kill intimacy. 1. Relying on porn as your only source of arousal rewires your brain away from real human connection. 2. Rushing through the act like a chore teaches your body to expect tension instead of presence. 3. Treating it as a secret, shameful habit creates emotional distance, guilt, and disconnect from your partner or your own self. These patterns may seem harmless on the surface, but over time, they erode the very thing we crave most in our later years. Connection, warmth, real closeness. You've also learned that masturbation isn't something to be ashamed of, it's something to approach with intention. Through mindful solo practice, you can rebuild sensitivity and stamina, feel emotionally connected to your body again, strengthen relationships by reducing secrecy, restore joy, energy, and pleasure at any age. It's not about giving up solo pleasure. It's about reclaiming it as a tool for intimacy, not isolation. What to do now? Comment the word awareness if this video opened your eyes to something new. Click like to support this message and help more people over 60 reconnect with their bodies and partners without shame. Subscribe to Intimacy Over 60 for more science-backed videos on sexual vitality, hormones, confidence, and connection after 60. Get your free guide. 7 testosterone-boosting foods for men over 60. Link is in the pinned comment below. And if you haven't watched it yet, check out our video. Is masturbation healthy after 60? Doctor explains the truth. It's the perfect next step to understand the full picture. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being open. And thank you for being brave enough to grow. Because your age doesn't limit your capacity for pleasure. What limits it is the story you've been told. Let's rewrite that story together. I'm Dr. Victor Hale. Stay curious, stay connected, and I'll see you in the next video.